If you have a rotted out transom and you're gonna have to cut it open and take out the welded side caps and top, then this video is for you on how to replace them. So a few things have been going on. If you don't care about those things that I'm about to talk about right now and you just want to see the boat being built, go to this time right here. I understand. But if you want to see what's been going on these past few weeks why I haven't posted, here's why. Well, for one, I got rid of my office. It ended up not producing as much for me as I thought I would do. I had this crazy, I wanted to be a filmmaker journey and go do videos for other people, not just for this. And then I found out that but what it did give me was complete privacy to zone out and binge out on videos and get them done with fairly good quality. And I will tell you, since I've been home and out of that office, it has not been a great time. There are things going on at this house that really make it hard to edit videos with good sound quality. It's kind of terrible. And I will also note that everybody, when they find out you're like a YouTuber or TikToker, any kind of content creator, and that's your job, they secretly, I think, hate you, including like your own loved ones, because they don't have any respect for the job. They like think you're just doodling on your phone or just messing around and stuff, messing around on the computer, just things that people do for fun that you're actually doing for work, and they hate that. I would say anybody with a normal day job probably, just if they're in your familiar, intimate circle, that is. So you're gonna have to stand up for yourself and kind of reassert yourself. So like trying to get the whole family dynamics of me working at home while dealing with all the chaos that happens inside this home has been challenging, but we're gonna get through it. Another one was my health was in pretty bad decline. And so for a while, it was not great. I'm 38, I'm about to be 39, and I've probably been the worst health I've ever been in my life. I used to be in phenomenal, incredible shape. And then slowly but surely, after I graduated with my master's and I went to that job as a clinician, and I counseled forever, that really imploded. My mental health and my physical health went down the tubes, and so I left that job. As I finally left that whole profession in general, kind of just condemned the whole profession, and went to work full time as a content creator. Then I had my dream job from you guys. You guys gave me this job, and I still couldn't get it together. My brain was still like foggy. I was still like fatigued. I didn't want to get up and do anything. I was procrastinating. I felt low energy. I was like, man, why do I feel like crap? I have the best job ever. I have everything I wanted on my own schedule. I could sleep how long I want and go fishing. I still gotta work. I work more hours than I did over there, but it's more meaningful work. It's way better. Why did I feel better? Why didn't I feel better? And then so I found out, I went and got tested by the doctor and found out my testosterone levels were like an 80-year-old man's testosterone, like super low. And I kind of wondered because my joints hurt, my feet hurt, my back hurt, everything hurt. And I was like, my body kind of decomposed. Like I felt like an old man, really did. I felt like beyond my years in wisdom and age. And so there's some good things that came with that, and there were some obviously terrible things for your health that came with that. And so I went and got that fixed on TRT and stuff, and that actually stopped a lot of it. It really did. All the joints, all the feet, my natural body mass and bulk, which used to be there and kind of just somehow faded off into wherever, that all came back. Because naturally I'm a fairly big person when I'm actually healthy. But that wasn't enough, and then I was overweight. So I was filtering these down. Got a great job with really good, almost no stress. Not bad stress like I had for my other job. Really enjoy my job, and I'm on this. So those things are really good, but then I still wasn't feeling great. I still had poor health conditions. I was going through constant fatigue. I had to take afternoon old person naps. No offense to old people. Still had incredible brain fog. Couldn't really function or binge out unless I was strung out on caffeine, and that was a huge problem because I really honestly freaking hate caffeine. Hate energy drinks, hate how they make me feel after they crash. No matter what I try to do, sip in moderation or binge them, I just hated it all. And so what I did is I went down and I spent, I think, a lot more money than I ever thought I ever spent on a wellness program, but I went and got to this wellness program out of Phoenix, and ever since then my life has been dramatically different. I've dropped substantial amounts of weight. I feel so much better. I beat caffeine and sugar addictions entirely. I'm trying to do this documentary on this cleansing journey I'm going through. It's like a 3-month cleanse journey that I'm gonna post on my other channel. I'm not gonna bore with you right now, but I'm gonna tell you, after the first 10 days, I feel like I'm 15 years younger. No lie. And my face is not all fat and swollen. My body doesn't feel all swollen and achy. I don't feel like an old man at all. I feel like I felt like I was 25. I felt like before I imploded, I was in the best shape of my life at 25. And then close to it again at 31 when I really tried for hard, and I had to work substantially hard to get that good a shape. And right now I'm telling you, just after 10 days of this crazy diet, which sounds undoable to the average person with a mainstream diet, I feel so much better. I feel like I could just crank out things. Yesterday I was like on an all-day high where I felt like I was just binging on caffeine all day. Like I just was like, and it was all natural energy, all natural energy. Didn't think it was even possible at my age, going, you know, almost being 39 next month, going into 40. I'm gonna probably be in better shape and feeling better than I was when I was like in my 20s, 25. It's a big deal, huge deal. What that means is once I get my crap together at the house, there should be a lot more videos. You know, I looked at all this stuff in my yard, all these boats I have, all these projects I have. I'm like, well, I'm never gonna get these done. I don't have the energy. I don't feel good all the time. And now I'm just like, man, I gotta get all this crap done. So let's get it done. So we'll start with some few short videos to leak this out, and then we're gonna get pretty deep into this because I really kind of want to take this boat up to Georgia and do a few things with it before we give it away. Let's check it out. We're gonna figure out what we're gonna do with this boat. If you want this boat build to go faster, if you want all these boats to go faster, you want to see more content, throw something in the tip jar, become a channel member, or become a patron. That is really how this channel has kind of survived. It's weird. YouTube, people, it's weird. There's channels with a lot of subscribers, there's channels with no subscribers. So I have more channel views than people with a lot more subscribers than me, but like my comment section and my subscriber and like all the engagement on my videos are, I mean, some of them trend substantially well, but a lot of them are really low. But my demographics for YouTube show that 15 to 16% of you are actually subscribed, and that there's a bulk majority of you, 80+%, are not subscribed, just kind of watching videos. But if you're here and you know, leaving something in the tip jar is not really an option for you, likes are free, comments are free, pushing that subscribe button free, and you know what that'll do for my channel? Substantially more than like any donation would actually do. Donations are great. If you do all those things, those are fantastic. That's actually how the channel stays alive. But if all of you just subscribed, liked, commented, and shared my video, then I would need Patreon. I wouldn't need channel memberships. I wouldn't need none of that because it would just exponentially explode. So like think about doing at least one of those 4 things when you're here watching these videos. It helps substantially for the channel. It helps us trend and get these videos out, and it ultimately generates more revenue so I can continue to do these things. Otherwise I'm gonna have to go get a day job in construction, which I'm probably gonna have to actually do, which less videos. I don't wanna bore you with that, guys. I don't really reach out and ask for subscribe or leave that like button or do those things, but today I'm asking you guys to really think about it. I'm also filming with the Insta360 One X2. It is a million times worth way more money than any GoPro, I will tell you that. So we fixed this. This was an issue. 2 brackets instead of 1, and it stiffened up substantially. The bracket shims plus the 1/2-inch tubing right there actually mimicked verbatim the exact volume that needed to be inside this, and so we have very minimal shift. The only reason we have shift here is because I didn't rivet it over here, and so it's slightly shifted. Over here we have virtually no shift because after that I kind of learned and put stupid rivets. I can straighten that out if I get like a vice clamp and pressure it here and then actually put rivets in the shims on both sides. It won't shift. So I put 1/8 inch rivets because they're a little bit smaller diameter. Again, this is a smaller profile inside. Think of this, how small this is, and it's smaller. And plus, you know, non-countersink pan head, strongest that you're gonna get on a joint that is constantly under tension. But the stiffness, yeah, man, it's just as stiff as anything else here. It doesn't, you can't feel it physically flex right there. It's our best bet. All right, so this is the end brazed. Underneath it is a piece of angle. And that's what's really going to be joined this side. And really, the angle's not terribly necessary, but what that is for is so we could just cosmetically fix out the end. And then, there that is. We also retrimmed the line and sanded so it's a little bit cleaner. And then obviously we need an inside angle support. We're going to get to the end caps we use to join this triangle support in just a second. But right now, what we're using is 063 aluminum sheeting. And I think actually this piece is a scrap piece of 080 or 090. But 063 would work. Considering people, I've seen everything from people just bolting a triangle right to the transom and the gunnel and that working, all the way to just people bolting triangular wood pieces like plywood right to the transom and the angle, and that also working. Obviously it didn't last as long, but how most people do it, in, as far as like the professional boat world, is they have overlapping angle. It's just an overlap, which we're going to bend the angle and overlap it, and that just cuffs the corners. This piece is actually a little thicker than 063, so if you have a little cheap Harbor Freight brake like this that was like 50 bucks and it's struggling to bend it, you can heat it very carefully with a torch and it will soften it up to the point where you can actually bend it. That's how we got the taper. There it is. Now let's go see the damage. Let's be bent back a little bit more here. We can do that in a little bit. Versus that side. Now that side. I do like it. That looks pretty pro. Very good. All right. The reason I have that thing there is because it's actually better than the Milwaukee one, but it's also the updated. Milwaukee hasn't made a fuel version of that, so who knows? Who cares? That thing is super powerful for 12 volts, and this is what I made out of it. Cut that piece. This is 1/8. The deal is under 2K and scrap parts, so I got a lot of scrap. That counts as scrap. So if we're going to go ahead and join this in such a way here to where that covers it. After having that angle bracket secured in place with some pretty heavy duty clamps, we go ahead and we drill 4 to 6 specific spots for rivets. We're using countersink. You could use standard panhead, and you can put even more than this, but we're thinking 4 to 6 is going to be okay. Specifically because we're going to be bolting the ends of this angle to the gunnel and the transom, and then we're going to be joining the back with similar bolts right through the actual angle panel itself. All of that joined together should make a very, very stiff corner end, supporting the transom and the gunnels and keeping the boat's shutter levels down. For the hardware needed to join each side, rivets are simply not going to cut it. They will lengthen and stretch and loosen, and so to fix that, we're going to be using stainless steel hardware. We are using 1.5 inch and 3 inch 1024 stainless screws with nylocks. All right, so that's pretty darn sturdy and good, and despite the fails over here, seems like I had to do one run. I always have to fail before I succeed from the mismeasurement because I had to retaper in and then readjust this. It didn't fit like I thought, but now I know that it will fit that way. Looks pretty darn good. Other than this, which we will figure out. I'll just sit on it for a little bit. Eventually, this whole thing's going to get painted. This will be the same color as the aluminum when we paint it, so we might just do that. My biggest concern of this stuff is that it'll vibrate off, but this stuff is super tough. It's like tougher than JB Weld, so I don't know. Tougher than Bondo, tougher than JB Weld. It's really, really tough, flexible marine epoxy, so let me know what you think. Either 063, 080, or 090 sheet metal. Obviously, the thicker the better it's going to be. I actually think that piece is a little bit thicker than this because when I bent it, even though it looks similar in thickness, it was way harder to bend. It must be just ever so slightly. I got it from the scrapyard. It is just ever so slightly thicker than this. Definitely, it's not 1/8 though. I think you can still use that too. It's just overkill. You better have a really good brake to bend 1/8 inch aluminum. You could also take it to a metal shop. Metal shop will break it for you. We'll do bends. You'll have to pay for each bend, but you can do it that way if you get them precise and you measure out a template, bring it back to them. But I mean, they're only gonna do it once. I was able to do these with Harbor Freight special brake and got it done. These are 1/8 inch aluminum angle pieces. Now I know people have trouble getting 1/16, but you can get 1/8 all day from a metal shop, and you can even find them at Lowe's in like 6-foot sticks. They're $1 million for a 6-foot stick because of the import costs and whatever, but it is what it is. We also do carry 1/8 inch angle if you need it. I don't know if we sell in the store, but if you email us at support.tvnation.net, say you need some, we could totally send you some. Using stainless steel aluminum hardware, 1.5 inch, 1.5 inch, and then these are all like 3 inch, which we want. We kind of want to replicate like how it would be if we had a true corner panel. They're always screws in, and some of these are lightly done, but there's always screws in, and then there's always a joining one on the actual transom itself. And so that is a very solid transom. Now we're going to leave the transom alone because for one, it's good enough, and two, I got a really good surprise for you coming up. You guys ever seen on the fly jack plates? We're going to put one on this boat and show you a budget way to jack your motor up that without having to go get a full hydraulic jack or a full electric jack. I sat on this subfloor on purpose because I wasn't quite sure what direction I was going to take on it. Whether I was going to pour foam or I was going to stack sheets of foam, or whether I was going to just leave it blank. I have decided to pour foam it, but I'm going to do it my way in such a way that I think it might help bleed and alleviate some problems that are residual with pour foam issues like this. We'll see. We'll see if my ideas work, but I just don't see any other way around it. If we're going to make this boat solid, it's got to be solid all the way. And definitely a big part of making like small thin hulls like this more solid and much more less prone to rattling is widening out the floor and making that solid. And then there's other things you do to the top too that make it ride smoother too, but we'll get to those things obviously as we go on. Next, what we're going to do here is the bow plate. So I really want to get that done and this done. That way when I'm moving in the boat in this thin hull, it's not flexing and doing weird stuff and I don't get mismeasurements. Because, I mean, really the boat doesn't have its benches. You can tell there were benches here, right? And over there. And this was replaced. This actually had a steering console in it. Would you believe this little 13.5 foot boat with a steering console was actually pretty nuts. It was pretty nuts. If the boat wasn't such bad shape, I would have like maybe thought about keeping it that way. It was kind of had an 18 horsepower like Merc 2-stroke. Thing was boss. All right, the next part of this, we are going to be tying the bow, and we're tying all the rigid structure together on this boat before we get to the framing. That way it all comes out even and we know what we're doing. Stay tuned for this on episode 4 that comes up. Please consider liking, sharing, and commenting on these videos to help us trend. Subscribing, those things help out more than you'll ever know.